Welcome back. We're discussing job interview and using LinkedIn to advance your career. We're talking about professional branding. This is a continuation of our previous discussion about it when we talked about crafting your CV. And tonight we're going to carry it through to job interview. And job interviews are hard and they make you nervous. They're not an easy thing, I don't think, for anybody. Maybe if you're a very self-confident person and you've been doing it a long time, it doesn't totally wipe you out. But it's an intense situation where this is going to affect your future. And so it's a pressure situation. And some people are better at that and some people less. But it's a challenge for everybody. And you're young, so you have to give yourself a break and try to learn more about it. And you've learned a tremendous amount of information over the past year in cyber, and you know how to do a lot of stuff. But you have to also give some time to learning the soft skills, like how to do a job interview. The more you do, the better you'll be. But do the research. Watch the YouTube videos about it. I'm going to share some with you, and it's worthwhile putting the time in to learn more about it and become a little bit of an expert in this process, because this process is really important. There are people that are qualified for a job and they don't get it because they don't really know how to behave at a job interview. And there's some specific Beis Yaakov things, like, or yeshiva things, where you're a Bal Musar, so you think you should be very humble and you shouldn't say good things about yourself or be self-promoting. But that's not really appropriate professional behavior. At a meeting, at a job interview, it's really a sales meeting. You're there to make a sale. And so you do have to essentially promote yourself. And you don't have to be verstinkende Balgaiva. You don't want to be obnoxious, but you need to talk about yourself in a positive way and the value that you're bringing. So that some people are a little bit uncomfortable with that, or they're not used to that, and that's not the way that we were taught how to talk about ourselves. So it's something you got to learn how to do. And again, I have people that have taken this program, and because they weren't able to sort of deliver the goods at a job interview meeting, they couldn't get a job. And so it is a deal breaker. If you don't know how to behave professionally, it won't work for you.
I
And
have a
so,
question about that. Can I ask a question?
yes, Esty, go ahead.
I feel like a lot of times when you have an interview, like they don't care, like they're basically asking you about your hard skills. So if you don't have experience, it doesn't really help like soft skills. Like they want to know what your hard skills like experiences from my past experiences. But like maybe just like I don't know. But I guess it depends on the interview.
Well, but when you said hard skills, you're talking about your cyber skills, right?
Yeah, or like they want to know that like you have hands on. I don't know. I guess like try hack me, but
Yes,
like
try hack me is key because I mean you're coming for an entry level position, so you're not coming claiming there I've worked in the field before because you haven't, and so that's a very simple answer. I have not held a previous position in the field, but
think that
but I have been using these tools, Wireshark and Nmap and whatever else. I reached this level of try hack me and hack the box, and I'm studying for this certification, and I have expertise in X, Y, and Z. So I agree, the hard skills are king in cyber. I agree with that. But I'm just saying that you have to be a person, you have to present yourself. And it's like shidduchim, which also are like nerve-wracking, and you're nervous before a date. And you could be a wonderful person, but if you don't know how to behave on a date, then it's not going to go for you. So I'm just saying that this is a human challenge, and it's part of our world in the business world, and you do get better at it as you get more practice. So anytime you have the opportunity to go for a job interview, even if you don't think you're going to take the job, you should still go just as a learning experience. Anyway, that's all by way of introduction. I'm now starting my presentation. Okay, introduction to corporate culture, social media, LinkedIn, job interview skills, and sample cyber job interview questions. Okay, and again, that's something that I'll show you a little bit, but I want you to spend more time on it on YouTube whenever you're getting ready for your first job interview. Okay, so last time we talked about you as Me Incorporated, that you're a company and your CV is your sales document. Well, now you're going to make a sales call. And work culture, that especially in the field of cybersecurity, it's part of homeland security. It's part of, protecting America and protecting Israel, protecting the world. And so a lot of the people in this industry have served in the military. So it's like paramilitary culture. It's like policemen and soldiers, and the banks, the financial institutions, they're under attack. So you're sort of coming into a tense environment of soldiers, men and women. And the cybersecurity companies that provide cyber services, they're like hired guns. They're sort of like mercenaries. And you are interviewing to become a soldier. So it's sort of tough. You have to, wear your army boots to this interview. Don't be soft and warm and fuzzy. Be tough like a soldier, okay? And being Israeli is good, right? Israelis are tough. And remember, the top cyber person in America, the advisor to the president, is a frum lady, a Beis Yaakov woman. So Beis Yaakov women can be tough. I say again, work is not about family or Shabbos or Yom Tif or marrying off your kids. It's about helping the company make money. You always got to keep that in mind because, really for us, life is about Shabbos and Yom Tif and marrying off our kids. But in our job interview, in our professional persona, we have to be aware of the messages that we are delivering. Okay. When somebody says it's not about the money, it's about the money. That's there's all kinds of people. You will meet all kinds of people in life and in business, and some are high IQ but low EQ. EQ is their emotional intelligence. And especially, right, we say people are geeky or, they're nerds or something. Maybe they're good with computers but not good with people. You'll meet some people like that. And there are some people that are just jerks. They're just like nasty and, maybe they're a broken kli and whatever, but you're going to have to deal with people like that. And so your job interview could be with a good person, a nice person, a smart person, and it could be with a person that is not good at relating to people. And that's the challenge that you're dealing with. So that's life. Okay, I have a YouTube video about this. Two geniuses. These two people are both super geniuses. One is Oppenheimer, who's known as the father of the atomic bomb. And he's a Jewish guy from New York City. And he was a genius, but he had some real serious personality issues. But he knew how to deal with people. And so he was able to get the job to be head of what was called the Manhattan Project to develop America's atomic bomb during the Second World War. This other guy, his name is Christopher Langan, and he's also a huge genius. Like he has an IQ of, I don't know, something, what does it say? Langan's IQ was estimated to be between 195 and 210. Okay, that is really, really high. Okay, but he's like the smartest man in America. But he doesn't have a job and he's never done anything with his life because he's a jerk. And it's not all his fault. Like his mother was married 3 times and his stepfather beat him up. And so he's angry at authority figures. I'm just saying the fact that you're super smart, like both these men are, does not guarantee success. You have to know how to work with other people. That's the moral of the story. Okay. I mentioned last time a little bit about social media. And this guy also says it that you don't need Facebook and you don't need Twitter or Instagram, but LinkedIn is where business meets business. And it has value in producing leads for jobs, job offers, professional community, topics that are under discussion, industry news. You can learn stuff there and you can develop your personal brand there. So I actually would like to take this opportunity to share this YouTube video about this guy, because one of the things I find really surprising is how much people put into the details of things. And this guy is going to talk about your LinkedIn photo and tell you how to do it. And who cares? Is that really important? And it turns out it is important. Things like that are important. So things that you might not have given any thought to it, somebody else has thought a lot about it and found the right way and the wrong way to do it. And if you do it the right way, it makes a difference and it gives you an advantage. So it's worthwhile learning about this stuff. So let me share my sound and share this video.
Forget about Twitter, Instagram.
LinkedIn is where the money is.
LinkedIn is the biggest business-to-business social network in the world. So if you want to be there and you want to be successful on LinkedIn, then it's important that you have a good LinkedIn profile. In order to have a good profile, we want to review 3 key factors. First thing is your profile picture. Your profile picture is very important because on the basis of your profile picture, people will want to connect with you or offer you business proposals or maybe offer you a job. Now, if you don't have a profile picture or if it's outdated, then you really have to work on that. Now, what do you need to have a good profile picture? Well, first thing is that it has to be a close-up. Look into the camera, smile, have a neutral background, and dress appropriately, so wearing minimal jewelry or accessories and certainly no headwear or no sunglasses. These are things to avoid in your profile picture, like shades. This picture could work on Instagram, but it's not really suitable for LinkedIn. Okay, this one, no explanation needed, I think. No alcohol ever. Yeah, these are actually existing profile pictures that I found on LinkedIn. Okay, this one taken in a car, not looking in the camera, bad lighting, the guy with the big cigar, and this lady probably somewhere on holiday. Now, these pictures could work on Instagram, but they are not really suitable for LinkedIn because you need a professional look on LinkedIn. So how do you know that your profile picture is good? You could ask colleagues or maybe friends or family members, but there's another thing that you can do, and that's to use photofeeler.com. Now, photofeeler.com is an application, it's a free one, it's online, and what it does is that professionals like you and me, they review your picture on the basis of 3 criteria: likability, influence, and competence. Now let me give you an example. So here it is. I logged in with my existing LinkedIn profile, and you can see people rate my picture as very competent and influential, but as you can see, I'm not considered very likable. So of course, I wanted a high score on all 3 levels and be more likable. So what I did is I uploaded another picture where you see me smiling more. And as you can see, the likability has improved, but not dramatically, but my competence and influence have dropped. So I decided to stick to my original picture because to me, on LinkedIn, having an image of being competent and influential is far more important than being likable. So photofeeler.com, try it, use it, and update your picture. Now, another thing that you can do is to also update your background picture on LinkedIn, because few people do that or know that, and standard by default you have this like bluish background image which is a little bit boring. So you can update that, and it's really easy, and it really helps you to get an even more professional look on LinkedIn. Okay, so let me give you an example of a background picture. For instance, here's an example of Tara Hunt. So she's a market researcher and strategist, and she communicates that perfectly in this great background picture. So make it work for you. Second thing you want to do is to have a look at your headline. Your headline is the piece of text that comes below your name. And your headline, you have to see that as an ad, as the title of an ad. It has to draw the people into your profile and make them want to read more about you. Now, per default, LinkedIn uses your job title there. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes that can be a little bit boring, like marketing assistant or sales manager or whatever. So there's a simple rule that you can use to enhance, to make your title better on LinkedIn, and that's just use your job function and your company name, plus your most important keywords, and then the zing factor. Now let me explain that. Of course, you have your job title and then your company name, but it's also very important to add the important keywords. Now, why is that? Because when people go on LinkedIn, they often try to find certain profiles. They use the search option to find certain profiles. Now think of the keywords that people would use to find you and incorporate those in your title. For instance, if you are a marketing manager or a marketing professional and you have experience with SEO or with email marketing, then it's important to use those words SEO and email marketing in your title. Okay, and then the zing factor. That's something that that surprises people. That could be a conversation starter. That explains a little bit more of what you stand for. It's something to draw attention with. Let's have a look at an example. This is a headline in my profile: communication trainer, coach, and partner at Expert Academy. I included the most important keywords like trainer and coach and communication, and also my company Expert Academy. And then the zing is helping people in their professional growth. Here's another great headline from Tim Queen. He managed to get all the important keywords in the headline and make it attractive and teasing. Marketing and branding strategist, keyword speaker, YouTuber, and founder. Now the third thing you want to do is to write a strong summary. Now the summary is the piece of text that you can find below your title. Now in your summary, you can, explain what your skills are, what your strengths are. For instance, if you are a salesperson or a sales manager, then you can explain in the summary how you can help other people, how you can help businesses, to grow, or what solutions you can offer to them. Also in your summary, you can add social proof. Now that is very, very strong. You can add links to your website, to a blog, a slide share. You can even add YouTube videos there. And it's very easy to do. It's super easy. Let me show you how it works. So here is my summary. As you can see, I have a link to my webpage here and a link to a YouTube video. So when you click here, people can watch the YouTube video inside the LinkedIn application. Adding external media is super easy. Just click the pencil here to edit your profile, scroll down to the summary section, and there you have the upload buttons for files and links. So let's say we want to link to a YouTube video. Just paste the link here, and as you can see, you get the preview, and you can change the title and description if you want. And that's just it. Okay, so here's an extra bonus. If you want, you can leave the link to your LinkedIn profile in the...
Okay, I thought he was really good and no nonsense, and about the importance of LinkedIn and even the details of LinkedIn. Two things I want to add about it. One, let's say you don't want to have your picture on LinkedIn, which I understand. We have students and graduates who are, Haredi women, and they don't want to have their picture on LinkedIn. That's fine. I suggest you make an avatar of yourself. And even if you don't want to make an avatar of yourself, so make an initial. We have some students who have like a nice A or a nice letter, but invest in it. Don't leave it blank as just a faceless thing. That just shows that like you haven't done anything about it. Whereas it's like Sneos is beautiful, so you don't want your picture there. So put your initials or a logo or something, or an avatar, whatever you want, but invest in it. Think about it. Think of the image that you want to project. And Sneos is part of it, so that's fine. The other thing I wanted to say about your LinkedIn profile, again, you have to spend time on that and think about it, and make sure it matches what you're writing about yourself in your CV, because they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile and read it. And so if there are contradictions, so then that's going to raise questions. And so your LinkedIn profile, of course, is something you need to update, from time to time, every couple months. If something's changed, you got a certification, you for sure you want to report on that on LinkedIn, and you want to add that to your profile. So again, LinkedIn is a really important resource. If you're not ready for it yet, that's okay. So put this in the drawer, file it for a year or two down the road, or when you're married, or when you're ready. But LinkedIn is where the world does business, so it's really important. Okay, I'm going back to my presentation. And here we go. I need to be in presentation mode. Okay, so we're now talking about turning job interviews into job offers. Your CV has gotten you an interview. Your LinkedIn was good. Now use this opportunity to continue your branding message and land the job, get yourself a job offer. So what we're going to talk about are preparation, transportation, listening, communicating your message, understanding your interviewer, body language, attire / makeup / jewelry, what not to say, follow up, and then cyber specifics. Those are our topics now. Okay, preparation. As in most things in life, how you prepare is the best indicator of your success in your job interview. So preparation is like research. It's like you're doing reconnaissance. You learned how to do reconnaissance in cyber, and so you're going to use open source, right? Open source OpInt. And what do I know about this employer? You're going to do research on them. Who's going to interview me? You can't always know this, but it's something that I like to talk to you about. In sort of gross generalities, an HR is usually a woman in her 30s or 40s. A CTO is a man in his 30s, 40s, or 50s, and a CEO is a man in his 50s or 60s. And these are different people, different characters, and you're going to relate to them differently and talk about different things and say it in different ways depending on who you're talking to. So even when you're lying in bed at night and you can't sleep, imagine yourself talking to the HR lady, imagine yourself talking to the CTO, and imagine yourself talking to the CEO. And I'll just give you, really simple example. To the HR lady, you talk about your attitude and what a good team player you are and how you bring good spirit to the team and stuff like that. To the CTO, you talk about your project and you hack me and hack the box and technical things about cyber. And to the CTO, the CEO, the boss, it's a combination of your cyber knowledge and your business sense and your understanding of their business, because that's what he cares about, business. So you should come to the job interview with a number of questions that you want to ask. If they say to you, is there anything you'd like to ask? And you say no, that's not a good answer. You should ask questions. And you should for sure think in advance, what are they going to ask you? And you should prepare your answers to that. And I have more insight to that coming up. What are you going to answer? Write it out, hone them, work on them, record yourself. It's not fun to record yourself and watch, but it's really worthwhile. It really helps you improve your delivery of answering questions. I did a practice interview, and I would do a practice interview with any of you if you wanted to at any time in the future. If you have a specific interview and you're nervous or you just want to improve and you send me an email, would you do a practice interview with me? I would do that. And I think it's really helpful. And I did it with one young lady, and I asked her something simple like, tell me about yourself, or how did you get into cyber, or why are you interested in this job? And it stumped her. And I was like, come on, that was the easiest question in the book. So you definitely, want to think about this in advance. There's this, sort of annoying question, what's your biggest weakness, right? So you want to think about that. What is your strength? You want to think about that in advance and have that prepared for how you can answer questions like that. Transportation is sort of stupid, but you have to get to the job interview in order to do it. And so sometimes you're going to a place you've never been before and you don't know exactly how to get there, and you're going to be nervous. So that's not good. So either go there in advance, or you have Waze or Google Maps or whatever you have, but make sure you get there 15 minutes ahead of time to be calm enough that you're not, breathing heavy when you come into the meeting. If you're there just at the nick of time, then you're already late. You want to be early. Go in advance. Keep yourself focused in the game. The pregame shouldn't take your energy and nerves. Okay. Listening in a job interview is much more important than people think. Of course, it's very important what you're going to say, but you also want to show that you know how to work with other people, which includes listening to them. And there's something called active listening, where you're reflecting and receiving what they say and showing that you understand and saying back to them some of what they're saying to show that you get it. Learn about the job and the employer by attentive listening. Listen well to what they say. Find out what qualities they're looking for in the person that they hire. Allow the interviewer to guide the conversation in their desired direction and pace. And again, I didn't say my source material for a lot of this stuff is that same series of books by what's his name, Mr. Bates, Knock 'em Dead interviews. Okay, so I have that book here on my shelf, and again, he's great. He went into the details of this process and really analyzed it deeply. You want to show that you're a good team player and can listen and interact effectively with others. If you're going to work in the company, you're not going to be talking all the time. You'll sometimes talk and sometimes listen. So you want to show that at the job interview that you can sometimes talk and sometimes listen. You want to understand the role and the personality of the interviewer in order to tailor your messaging. Like I said, is this a technical person? Is this a money person, a management person? What are they about? And that way you can talk to them about things that interest them. That's already sort of sophisticated and smart of you to connect with them in a positive way based on your understanding of who they are. Okay, communicating your message. Your CV was an expression of your professional brand. Your interview needs to continue to express that message and branding. It's what you say and it's how you say it, right? What language do you use? Very simple street language, or a little more professional language. There's things called transferable skills and professional values, things that you care about, things that are not the hard skills of cyber, but they're things that you would use in any job that you do. And I'm gonna show you in the next slide more about it. And again, like I said in the very beginning, the underlying message of every job interview is, I can do this job, I want to do this job, and I can get along with the other people here and contribute to the team. To state the obvious, a job interview is not therapy. You can't go there and say, oh, I'm so miserable, I need this job, or please help me. It's acting the part of the effective hire. Be the person that they want to hire. Communicate, you understand who they want to hire, and be that person. Okay, that's the name of the game. So what are transferable professional skills? A person who knows how to fix things, technical skills, a person who's a really good communicator, a person who has really good critical thinking skills, multitasking, teamwork skills, creativity, leadership. And again, it's not just to say these words at a job interview, but it's to talk about them and to live them and to demonstrate them, to be them. And if you back them up with stories and things that happened, so then they can be very, very powerful. Professional values, these are some examples: motivation and energy, commitment and reliability. And I will say here, this is where being a Haredi woman can be a plus for you in terms of like reliability and commitment. A lot of people in industry in general, but especially in cyber, and I would say especially in Israel, they're always looking for their next job. They switch jobs a lot, and that's very frustrating for the employer. The employer wants to train you and keep you, because at the beginning you're not valuable, and after you've been there 6 months, you're very valuable. So value builds up, and once you've been at a place and you know how to do the job, you become very valuable. And so this is not always true about all Haredi women, but a lot of Haredi women want to stay in the same position for a longer period of time than other people. They like the security and once they found an environment where they feel comfortable, they don't want to move on. So that's something to communicate, that I'm looking to stay in this job for a long period of time. The downside, Haredi women, young women are going to have maybe chofesh leida, they're going to have maternity leave. You don't want to talk about that. You don't need to mention it in any way whatsoever. But the upside of it is that I'm focused on joining this company and I'm here for the long term. I'm not looking at this job as a stepping stone of 6 months and then moving on. I'm looking at being here for a number of years to really grow with the company. Now, if that's not true, don't say it. But if it is true, that's a really valuable message. And again, I think the stability of what your messaging, of who you are, I think that lends credibility to that message. Other things here are determination, pride and integrity, productivity, economy. Another one, be frugal. Use resources in an effective manner for maximum productivity. That's another one where, you say, I'm a woman living on a single salary and we have 4 kids or 6 kids, whatever. And so we're very frugal. We're very careful with every dollar, every shekel. So that's showing that's something that the boss would like to hear, that I'm going to be really careful with the company's resources because I know how to be really careful with the dollar. I respect the value of every dollar. That's, again, maybe that is part of your values, maybe it's not. But if it is, that's also a good thing to communicate. And I'm just pointing it out because it's something where coming from a less rich background or a Haredi background or whatever could be an advantage in this way, that you showing that you know how to make it even on limited resources. Systems and procedures, following the chain of command. If things don't make sense, you have to work your way up through the system in order to change them. These are professional values. They're not connected to one particular industry, not to cyber or anything else, but they have value, and they're what you're about and your brand. So these are things you want to communicate in the interview. Again, all based on who you really are and what you really value. Okay, this is something I think I put this in for the most part, which is understanding the other person in the room with you. Sometimes there's more than one person. And so there's a group dynamic. There's, quote, a relationship between you. So use your interpersonal skills to gauge what interests the other party in a conversation, and then tailor your message and your communications to the type of person you're speaking to. So I talked about that already. Okay, body language. This is why it is helpful to record yourself and then watch yourself. And anybody could do it today with Zoom, and you could use your webcam and watch how you answer these questions. Nonverbal communications are actually the majority of our interaction. Your body will be telling a story, so make sure your body is telling the story that you want it to, which is through practice. Watch yourself, watch others, act like the person you want to be. Which is confidence and strength. And I wrote here, Haredi women can be fighteriot. Okay, that's a modern Hebrew word of being a fighter. And the fact that, the Haredi women are the tznius and they're associated with motherhood or whatever, but they can be tough. And again, like I said about Ann Neuberger and other women, and we had graduates of our program who are mothers, 8 kids, but she's going to work to earn a living for her cubs, her lion cubs. So she's ready to fight like a lion to bring home, food for her babies. And so Haredi women have a sense of purpose and can be tough in getting the job done. So don't be afraid to show that, that toughness, and that you're here to, wage war, and you're bringing your army boots. Because again, cyber is a field of good guys and bad guys, cops and robbers. So there is war here. We are part of an ecosystem of war. I do want you to appreciate that. Okay, what about what you wear, how much makeup, jewelry, etc.? So the name of the game is professionalism. You want to look like a professional. So look like the employee that they want to hire. What do their employees look like? What do they wear to work? What jewelry, how much makeup, etc. Again, your clothes, your hair, your makeup, and your jewelry will be telling a story. So make sure it's the story that you want to tell. I wrote here about bar mitzvah boy and new brides, because bar mitzvah boys are mostly hat. They have this big black hat and they're really excited about it. And you see this little pipsqueak, this 13-year-old boy, and he's small, and he has this big hat, so he's mostly hat. And I think a lot of times by a kala, like during Sheva Brachas or something, she's mostly sheitel. There's this tiny woman and there's this big sheitel. So don't be that, because you don't want your clothes, your jewelry, your sheitel, any of these things to steal the show from you. The show is your professional presentation, who you are as a professional, what you're bringing to the table, the value that you can bring to this company. So it's not about your makeup, your suit, your jewelry, or anything else. It's about you. So whatever you're wearing should be essentially quiet and not taking attention away from the main part of the story, which is your professional performance. Show them that you can represent the company honorably to clients or investors. You shouldn't be overdressed or underdressed, right? You don't wear a gown that you'd wear to a chasana, and you don't necessarily wear a jeans skirt either. You wear something mechubad, something honorable, really like a Beis Yaakov girl, where Beis Yaakov is all about chshivas. So that's you're coming from a good place. I like to tell the story. We had a young woman who came to my wife for career counseling, and she was like a Chassidish girl, and she was newly married, and she came to these meetings with my wife, and she was wearing a little bit too much makeup, and she was going to job interviews and wasn't getting it, even though she was smart and capable. And my wife said to her, "You look like a tchotchke, and that's why you're not getting the job." So the next job interview, she wore less makeup and more professional, and sure enough, she got the job. So even though, we're talking about snuot and everything, but still, you want to make sure that your looks and your outfit, your makeup and jewelry are all telling the right story. There are things that you should not say at the job interview, okay? There's a time to discuss vacation, whether Shabbos and Yontif, perks and salary, but it's not at the early stage of the interview, and probably not until they've offered you a job. Stay focused on the relevant topics. Other extraneous topics should only be used to strengthen your case or your connection. There's a dummies interview for dummies, job interviews for dummies cheat sheet. So that's a good thing to Google. So you want to control the conversation and don't say things that are not in your favor. You always want to play your strong card. Okay. Good questions, bad answers. The first question, okay, this guy has a test. Tell me about yourself, but you can't mention anything that's on your resume. Okay, that's almost like a trick question, but it's something to think about. And it's like sort of impossible. We're looking for someone with the wisdom of a 50-year-old, the experience of a 40-year-old, the drive of a 30-year-old, but the pay scale of a 20-year-old. That's just a joke. Things never to say in a job interview. I'll do whatever. That's not a good message. You want to be focused. What do you do? I mean, why didn't you research it? Complaining about your last company or saying you didn't get along with your boss, or he asks you a question, say, it's on my resume. Don't tell me that. I asked the question, answer it. Perfectionism is my biggest weakness. Everybody can say that. I think outside the box. It's also, worn out. How much vacation time do I get? Do you have any questions? Nope, no questions. How soon do you promote employees? That's also not a good question. So these are things you should not say. Okay, I have two images here, and I actually had a guy who he was going through a hard time in life. That happens. People are sometimes in a hard time, but you can't get a job based on mercy. Oh, I'm in such a shver matzav. I'm in a bad time in my life. I'm going through divorce or whatever. Please have mercy on me and give me a job. That's not how you're going to get a job. You're going to get a job by showing them that you're a warrior. Okay, you're a hero. You are strong. You're tough. You can see things through. You can overcome adversity and challenges. You love challenges. That is the message that a professional brings to the job interview, not getting on your knees begging for mercy. That's never going to work. Okay, follow up. At the end of the meeting, you can ask, when can I follow up on the results? When can I get back to you? The follow-up demonstrates your interest in the job. Since you have more than one job that you're applying for, you have to keep a spreadsheet to make sure you know when to get back to them. Remember that getting a job is a job. And so make time for it, be persistent. You have to send out, resumes every day or, a couple times a week. You have to really work hard at it. It's a really hard thing. And a lot of people, sometimes people give up before they succeed. It takes a lot of persistence. So, be ready for this really big challenge. Okay, cyber specifics. In cyber, Esty mentioned earlier that the hard skills are king. So be prepared to talk about and demonstrate your skills. They may ask you, put your hands on the keyboard and, hack the box or something. That's part of it. But certainly you want to mention any certifications that you have or that you're studying for. Right? It's okay if you don't have it yet, but tell them what you're working on, because that shows that you're a person who's into continuous learning, which is the most valuable thing. That you love learning, that you plan to continue learning throughout your career. That's really everything. Talk about the projects you did in this course. Talk about whatever interests you, past and future. They'll ask you a question you don't know the answer. That's okay. But ask them, okay, what is the answer? And go home and learn about it. Anything you don't know is a learning experience. And of course, if you learned anything in this course, it's that you have to Google things. So you should definitely Google cybersecurity job interview questions. And I have a YouTube thing here, and of course I'll share this presentation. So I did, again, I'm not sure the same thing. No, different thing. So here's a guy who gives 10 questions and he gives answers of why do you want to work for our company in this cybersecurity role. He gives you sample questions and sample answers. So I think you should spend time, watching a few videos like this of sample questions that they're going to ask you and examples of good answers. And you shouldn't learn them by heart. You should come up with answers that you feel comfortable. But again, invest time in this process. I made a list of sample cyber questions. Okay, tell me about yourself, your professional background. They'll review your CV. But let's say the women here in Israel, and a lot of women are here with their husband in Koilel, and so the company knows they're not going to stay in Israel forever. So it's a fair question to say, how long do you expect to stay in Israel? Because I don't want to hire you if you're going back after Pesach. We work with companies that know about our course, and so they might ask, well, what did you enjoy in the course in CyberWise? What was your final project about? What do you know about SOC? How can you contribute to the team besides just technically? Give an example of your going above and beyond. And that could be anything you've ever done in any job or even in your family. So again, but think about these things in advance. These are some jokes. That you definitely need to review the OSI layers. So the transfer layer protocols. I'm going to tell you a UDP joke, and I don't care if you get it. I'm going to tell you a TCP handshake joke. Are you ready? Explain. So I think you women understand those two jokes about UDP and TCP. So that's something, whatever, that's mine. What is the layer above it? What's the layer above it, below it? How would you explain the difference between hashing and encryption? Reversible or not, confidentiality versus integrity. Carrot and the stick. Okay, this is a particular company we know where they say, we believe in the stick. It's high pressure. Can you take it? And so you have to be prepared for that some of these guys are military guys and they're tough guys. So be ready for that. And then there's a good chance they're going to send you some homework. They're going to send you like a test to take it home. So, be prepared for that and then tackle it. And don't be afraid to ask for help. That's my 8s on that. Okay, that is my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any questions. As I said, I'm here for you. Please feel free to send me your CV. And we'll have meetings. We'll have one-on-one meetings with you now. It's the end of the course. As the course winds up in the next month, I think we'll do it in February, actually. We have a lot of stuff going on in January. In February, we're going to have one-on-one meetings, and we'll talk about strategy of how to get your first job or move on, whatever, in your career. So we'll plan on having meetings first or second week of February. So I'll send like a spreadsheet and we'll sign up for times, and we will look forward to talking about that and how we can help you move forward. Okay, thank you very much, ladies. I wish you all a good night, and I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Call too. Bye-bye.